Hey, what's going on, guys? You're watching now. You're probably watching on replay. Do me a favor. Go down in the comments, type the word replay down below if you are not watching this live. To everybody else, I want to say welcome. My name is Lamar Tyler, the creator and founder of Traffic, Sales, and Profit. We help entrepreneurs do three things: drive more traffic, convert more sales, and grow the amount of profit in your business. And we are here today with another fantastic, dynamic, inspirational, right? Inspirational and informational lunch and learn, guys. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here with you. I got a special guest I'm gonna bring on in just a moment. I can't wait for you guys to hear what she has to say and what she has to offer. And we are dropping today some information and knowledge that is going to inspire you to connect with other folks. That's going to protect you in the process of connecting with those other folks. And it's going to allow you to get to the money faster, right? It's going to allow you to get to the money faster and protect the money once you get to it. That's something we don't talk about enough, right? We talk about getting to the money, but how can you protect the money and make sure everything is straight when you get to it? That's what we're gonna learn today. But before we do that, as you come into the room, this is what I need you to do. I need everyone that comes in, as you jump on, to do a few things. Number one, drop your name, where you're from, and your business down into the comments. So I want you to drop your name, where you're from, and your business down into the comments so that we can see who we have actually on the actual training, right? To make sure we're good to go and that we are all set. Number two, once you drop your name, where you're from, and your business down so that we know who we have, I want you to also tell me who you are. I want you to also share this on your page. So a lot of you have biz besties, you have friends, you have other people that are in business, and guess what? They need this information. So you're going to be just blown away by what we share in just the next few minutes once we get started. But in the meantime, I want to make sure you're sharing this with somebody that needs to hear and see this message. So how can you do that? By sharing this. And once we get started, I need you to be engaged. I need you to be answering questions. I'm going to be asking you guys questions. We may be taking informal polls down into the comments, right? We're going to be going back and forth with you, and I need you to be engaged, locked in. So go ahead and share this right now to get started so we can rock this thing out. All right. So real clear, guys. Again, one more time, if you're just joining us, name is Lamar Tyler, creator and founder of Traffic, Sales, and Profit. Drop your name, where you're from, and your business name down below. All right, let me see what we got. We got a few folks already on. What's up, Chef Nina in the house from Florida? Thanks for joining, Chef Nina. Appreciate you being here. Let me see. I got my comments coming in, guys. It's like a lot of folks on already. That's what I'm talking about. I'm excited. I love when everybody show up right on time at the beginning of the Lunch and Learn. All right, so while I'm pulling that up, guys, I want to go ahead and make sure we pull everybody up and make sure I do a formal introduction of our guest speaker today. Our guest speaker is special. I'm a client. She's told me before we came on, she told me, Lamar, don't tell anybody, but you're my favorite client. That's what she told me, y'all. That's what she told me. Or she might not have verbalized it, but I could tell in her mind, that's what she connected with me on, y'all. So some of y'all are clients, don't be mad. What's up, Angela? Angela, I'm sorry. Maybe you can be second best client. That's cool too. It's no shame in that. But appreciate. I know people going to have stuff in the chat. I'm gonna not look at the chat for a minute because everybody's salty. But y'all want to go ahead and introduce our special guest for today, Raven Willis, Esquire. So Raven Willis is a business contracts and intellectual property attorney located in Keller, Texas. She has almost 20 years, y'all, of experience in negotiating, writing, managing, and reviewing, get this, over $2 billion, that's billion with a B, $1 billion in complex business contracts. She also specializes in critical intellectual property issues facing small businesses and startups that include trademarks and theft protection. Her business legal membership site, newmillennialegal.com, has revolutionized the legal industry by offering ultra low cost and substantive legal support to fast-growing small businesses. And guess what, guys? Today, Raven's here to talk about the top 3 mistakes businesses make when collaborating. So what's up? Let's see if we can get Raven to come on in. Raven, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hey, Lamar.
Hey, Raven, what's going on, Raven? I'm sorry. Look, Angela all in the comments, all in caps. No, she didn't. What we don't allow people to do is be yelling in the comments, right? You just supposed to get booted out, Angela.
I'm over here laughing so hard, like I'm crying, and I'm like trying to wipe my face right quick.
I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to expose everything. I'm sorry. All right. So Raven, let's talk about this, right? We're talking about today, top 3 mistakes businesses make when collaborating. And I love this because, especially in our opinion, we need businesses to collaborate more, right? We need people to work together so they can go after bigger contracts and bigger jobs and bigger audiences and all this stuff. But there's probably a right and a wrong way to do it, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that I think we're in this golden era of entrepreneurship. And, there's so many small businesses being formed. And now, we're all really kind of niching down in our areas of expertise. And then what's happening then is that we're now starting to see more and more businesses collaborating and leveraging the synergies of other businesses, especially since a lot of us are now, like I said, kind of niching down in our very, specific areas, to get more business. But, like I said, now I'm starting to see it's like a life cycle, it's like the big boom of starting businesses, then everybody's collaborating. And now what's happening is, okay, now we're starting to feel the effects of a lot of mistakes that businesses are being made. And, hopefully, we'll talk about some areas to kind of prevent that from happening.
Wow. Okay, awesome. So this is what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to ask Raven about these 3 mistakes so that you guys get all the information and all of what you need to make sure you don't make these mistakes. And then we will be doing Q&A. So make sure as questions come up, as you get them, you drop them into the chat or you write them down. So when we specifically do Q&A, you'll have them and we get started. And I've heard, right, that by the end of this thing, I may be able to get Raven to actually come up with some type of offer or something that she can share with us, guys. I don't know, right? I don't know, right? We may share some information. Since I'm her favorite client, I'm gonna see if she'll maybe share how you guys can get some of the great information and insight that I get regularly by being her favorite client. You don't even have to be her favorite client to be able to use Raven. She takes others as well besides her favorite. All right, Raven. So let's jump into this thing. So we talk about 3 mistakes business owners make when they collaborate. What would you say is kind of like the first thing that they do that maybe they shouldn't do?
Yeah, so the first thing that they do, obviously, and you know what I'm going to say, because my very specialty is contracts, is number 1, business owners are not getting the deal in writing. They're not getting an adequate contract. And, a lot of times, they don't use a contract at all, or they use, something very loose like an email or something like that, or they use, one of these free templates or very, very basic types of agreements. And then they use that and then they think that, okay, well, I'm covered. And then they move forward with it. And the reason why this is a huge mistake is that it's just not thorough. Because the biggest problem that these businesses come across is not necessarily because either party has these types of, ill will towards the other party. It's just that you have these assumptions in your mind and they have these assumptions in their mind, and it's just not fleshed out completely. And when it's not in writing, you don't give the other party an opportunity to really understand what it is that you expect and what it is that they expect as well. So you got to make sure that you get it in writing and you get a thorough contract. And all contracts are not created equal. I know this because, I this is what the meat and potatoes of what I do is contract writing and then contract reviewing. And I can always tell the sophistication level of a business or a company based on their agreement. And I can always tell when they get it off of some piss poor site, like without question, because there's just so many gaping holes in it. And it's not a bad place to start, but it's just, you got to fill it out more. And so companies don't know this. So they just take whatever, they get, or they take their buddy's contract that they had, their best friend's paralegal in their first year of school draft for them. They swap out the name and then they hand it over. And that's not good either. It really needs to be it needs to be tailored toward the project that you're working on. So that's the first mistake. It's just not getting it in writing. And even when it is in writing, it's just not adequate.
I love that. I love how you talked about the fact that a lot of times people don't have they don't have bad intentions, right? It's like you don't go into it thinking that, hey, something's going to go wrong. And I think that's a lot of times people only think they need contracts if it's a shifty person on the other side of the table. But what I see is like people have the best intention in the world, but when money especially real money start to come into the come into the situation, like all types of things start to get funny.
I will tell you, look, I've seen people turn into monsters when money is at stake. And it doesn't even have to be a lot of money, but you're right. People don't necessarily go into the agreement or go into the project or the collaboration thinking that they're going to screw you over. But then, you know, once they sense a little bit of money, oh, this thing can actually make money, people can shift. And then also, you know, it's just, again, it's better to get everything, all of your expectations out on the table up front. And sometimes you have a lot of assumptions that you don't even know that you have. And it takes a good contract to, you know, a really good template even to you see like some options for you, like, oh yeah, okay, I never thought about that. So let me go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So it helps you it helps to pull a lot of these assumptions out of your head out on paper. And again, it gives both parties an opportunity to say, yes, this is something that's agreeable, or no, it's not agreeable, before you guys get going into it and before money comes into play and before, you know, the relationship can spoil.
That's good. Hey, I got a question for all of you guys that are watching this, and I just want you to be open and transparent. How many of you have downloaded a bootleg contract from off the Raven gave a little bit of shade to the bootleg contract, right? I've done it before I used Raven. I've done it. It's been a while, right? But in the past, I may have just did a quick Google search when I needed something, right? Try to pull it down. I reviewed it with my own understanding, Raven. But that just wasn't good enough. But I've done it, right? Has anybody else done it? If you've done it, right? You don't have to say you're doing it now, but if you have done it in the past, drop a comment down below, right? Let's be open and transparent. Let me know I'm not the only one. All right. So
well, let me say this, Lamar. Hold on. Look. So bootleg contracts are not a horrible place. Well, first of all, assuming that there are no copyright violations, we'll just get that out of the way. Assuming there are no copyright violations, a bootleg contract is not a bad place to start, right? Like I can use a bootleg contract and create a phenomenal contract, but I've been doing it, you know, I went to law school and I've been doing it for 20 years. So for somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience, that's not necessarily where I would recommend you in. So I don't want to throw shade at the bootleg contracts and say they're horrible in every circumstance. They're not. If you want to start with a bootleg contract and then take it to a lawyer to save money, okay, that's different. So anyway.
Yeah, but you know, but that's what I was thinking though, right? I was thinking like most people probably aren't doing that, because I know when I would download a bootleg contract, for one, I would always be nervous. Like, why are they giving this away for free? Right? Is it like a virus attached to this thing? Like, what's going on? For one, that kind of stuff make me nervous. I got an IT background, make me nervous. But then I just had to be like, bump it, I need this contract. So then when I get the contract though, I think with my understanding, and y'all let me know if y'all you know have been in this space, I'm looking at it to see what's in it, right? And I'm looking at it to see if I agree with all the stuff that's in it. But what I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer, right? And I wasn't taking it to somebody, is what was not in it.
Right.
And I think that's where, like, you know, the business owners like myself can kind of get caught up when we just kind of viewing it to make sure, like, all right, it's nothing in it that I want to take out or remove or change. That's cool, but it may be some key parts that don't exist. And when we don't take it to a lawyer or have somebody review it, I think that's when we kind of get in trouble with it.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, so let's get number 2. The second mistake that business owners make when they are collaborating.
So the second biggest mistake is kind of goes hand in hand with not getting into writing, but it goes into not clearly defining the scope of the project and not clearly defining what each person or each party is going to be doing in the collaboration. So normally this section right here, or excuse me, what I'm talking about, defining the scope of the project, is going to be like in a statement of work. That's going to be the part of the contract that's going to be specified. So normally, to create a really good statement of work, what I like to say is walk through what each of you are going to do. Obviously, you have an end goal in mind, right? But what most businesses do is they just focus on the goal and they say, okay, here's the goal that we want to do. And we're both going to put forth our best efforts, blah, blah, blah. Well, anybody who's been in business understands that you can't focus on the goal. You got to focus on the process. And a contract is no different. You have to focus on the process. So laying out what is the day-to-day process going to look like for you to get to that goal. So walk it out, like every day, what each of you is supposed to do. Are you supposed to post, you know, X number of times per week in your Facebook group? Are you going to, you know, post X number of times on Instagram? Are you going to send this number of emails out? Like, it needs to be very specific of what the expectations are of each party. And again, it needs to be mapped properly to your goal, or else you're not going to hit your goal. But again, the focus needs to be on the process. And so the scope of work needs to be very well defined. Again, a lot of the mistakes that I see is just, again, focusing on that end goal, but not really having a good roadmap to follow to actually get there. So that's a huge, huge, huge mistake.
You know, Ray, if I comment, one of the things that you said that I love about that, right, is like that define the scope of the project. One of the things I found is that whenever people tend to work together, always say, well, not every time, but to me, it feels like every time, everybody always feels like they do the most in that relationship. Like they always feel like I'm the one carrying the burden. Even if the person's not doing anything right, they feel like, man, I'm doing the most and I'm doing more than they're doing. And, you know, the split shouldn't be the way it is. I should get more money, or I should get more of this, or I should get more equity, or whatever it is. So I love how you kind of define about defining the scope of that as you kind of draw it out. I love that.
Yeah. And then, I mean, so another thing that's really important is not even just defining the scope, but then doing what you're supposed to be doing, because that is true. You can't get mad if the other party is doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You can't get mad at that, because then what you can always point to, especially if there's a problem that arises, is like, okay, well, where in the contract am I not doing X, Y, and Z? And so it really does kill any type of dispute. But again, when you don't, it does kind of give the opportunity for a lopsided amount of effort being put into the project by either party. And again, you don't want that to happen. And it's not like each party goes into it expecting or anticipating the other party to, you know, give more than they are. It's just, it ends up like that. But to prevent that from happening, again, walking it out in painful detail is always the best way to go.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, before we go into mistake number 3, if you have questions, go ahead and start dropping those into the comments. As soon as we get done with question number 3, we'll be back in the comments, start answering you guys' questions. All right, so the top 3 mistakes, right? We went through 1 and 2. Now we're on number 3. What's the third mistake people make when they are collaborating?
The third mistake is not anticipating disputes. So it's going to happen. All right, you're going to disagree. You're not the same person. It's just human nature. Nobody's perfect, but you need to have a way to work through those disputes in a way so that the relationship can have the best possibility to stay intact. So what I like to do is, again, this kind of stems back to the first point, which is having a really good contract. A good contract is going to help you to do that. I'm a big fan of mediation and arbitration, because it is just going to be cheaper. If you hire a lawyer trying to sue somebody in court, you're looking at a minimum of like $20,000, like a minimum, and that's cheap. It's probably going to be more, you know, along the lines of 30, 40, or even 50, or even higher, depending on what it is. And so by the time, you know, if you have a dispute with somebody, and by the time you've paid your $30,000 legal fees just to draft a summons or just to file the lawsuit, you're going to be pretty salty. And at that point, the chances of the relationship remaining intact are pretty low. So if you can map out a way to solve these disputes, like one of the things that I like to do is I like to draft arbitration clauses, but I like to draft them in a way so that you can get through the problem really quickly and really inexpensively. So there's a couple of arbitration companies like online that can get your dispute handled and do it for under a couple $1,000s. And you both are on your merry way, quickly, like I said, inexpensively, and you have the best chances of being able to now move forward with your collaboration together because the relationship is preserved, versus now y'all both are spending $50,000 because you got to hire a lawyer because you can't agree to it. What's really important is to get all these things down in writing and create this map before something happens, before you guys get into gridlock, while the relationship is good, while you both have your best interests at heart, while you both have good will towards each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's a huge thing.
All right. I love it. Guys, if you got questions, go ahead and drop those down into the chat. We are talking today, we came in late, with Raven Willis, Esquire. She is talking about the top 3 mistakes businesses make when collaborating. My name is Lamar Tyler, creator and founder of traffic, sales, and profit. So this is great. Like I said, we always are encouraging people that they need to be able to work together, right? They need to be able to come together and pool resources, pool money, pool opportunity, and be able to go after bigger clients, bigger bids, bigger contracts, bigger audiences, whatever that may be. And Raven, you've done a great job of kind of laying out the framework of the top 3 things we need to be looking for. So I got it down in my notes. Said number 1, not using an adequate contract. Number 2, not adequately defining the scope of the project. And then number 3, not anticipating disputes. And as you talked about that, I had one question before we go to a Q&A. And thank you, Jacqueline Jeter said, awesome information. I had one question for you. It seems like to me like there's a thin line with lawyers between making sure that what they draft is not too simple, right? Too simple that it doesn't contain enough, or making sure there's not extremely excessive legal jargon. I mean, have you seen that? Have you have you seen lawyers like is it a such thing as too much legal jargon as some lawyers may do to put into it? And I know you're nice, Raven. So Raven try to y'all. She try not to she try to come directly for people. So she stirred around a little bit.
Okay. I like to err on the side of caution.
Okay.
So what that means in contracts is I like for them to be a little bit longer, Lamar, as you know. I like for my contracts to be longer versus shorter, because remember, the biggest problem with contracts normally is what they don't say, is what they don't have in it. That's where the problems come in. It's not normally because of something that it does say in it. It's what it doesn't say. So because of that, I like to be more inclusive than exclusive as far as writing contracts. But yes, it's a business decision. Like, for instance, if you have someone, a potential client or something, and they need something right now, and it's a $10,000 deal, and they're going to give you money for, X amount, and they want it right now, and you don't have time to hire a lawyer. I mean, then again, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm saying I can understand a business decision is using maybe the contract that you have now that, it's not perfect, but okay, whatever. I don't necessarily always recommend that. But it's just kind of a decision you got to make. It's a risk that you take. I can't remember a short contract that I've seen that I actually thought was thorough. Unless it's for a very specific tiny thing, like for instance, maybe like a non-disclosure. Those are pretty standard. Those don't normally have to be very long. Maybe something like that, I can understand it being shorter, but oh no, I prefer them being longer. And then I give my clients a longer contract, and then whatever y'all take out, that's on you. But I'm not going to get sued for malpractice because I put something in there. So I give you everything. Like, take out what you want. But
right.
This is what I recommend.
I love it. I love it. So you do have ways. I know some people are watching saying this sounds great, and they're realizing that they need more, right? They need legal help. They need more than just what they may be working with. And they're trying to find out, how can they work with somebody like you, get some of your information. They're saying they're wondering, can I afford to have a lawyer? Do I need to have on retainer? What that's going to be? But you actually have launched something and started something that's a great alternative for small business owners, right?
Yes. So I have a legal membership site that focuses on a couple of things. Number one is contract templates. I write them. Most of them on there, I actually have written myself. And what's great about my templates is that, again, you always have to modify them to fit your business and to fit your project and things like that. But at least mine get you way farther along versus the ones that are, going to be free, or the bootleg ones. So I do have that on my site. And then also members can get they can get access all of the templates. Right now it's $179. The price actually goes up tomorrow to $199 per month, but access to all of my premium templates. And I just finished writing a strategic collaboration agreement that kind of hits on all these points that I just talked about, to making sure that, you have a roadmap through the disputes. And then it has a really decent section to help you work through creating a statement of work and things like that in it. So that's one of the premium templates I just uploaded to the site.
Awesome. And I would highly recommend it to you guys. Besides being one of Raven's direct customers that we had to work on specific contracts and things like that for us, we also are actually members of the actual membership site. So we got in, I would advise you guys to get on it too, because you want to jump in if you can lock in the current pricing. And Raven, inside that membership site, I don't know how many templates you have total, but it's like, I would call it a rack. It's a rack of templates in the back end. I'm sure Raven wouldn't use that same terminology, y'all, but it's a rack of them in the back. I know we've pulled speaker agreement templates out the back. I know we've used agreements for some business stuff, for some event stuff. I mean, what are some of the other type of things in the back end of that site?
Oh man. Okay. So right now, I think we're up to like 70 something templates. These templates, like I said, are premium templates. These are not ones that you can just find on any site, a lot of them. What I've done is, because I take one-on-one clients, but then also, you know, I write these templates, I know exactly kind of like what's going on with businesses. So I write these templates specifically for small businesses in the space that we're in, like e-commerce, startups, things like that. So there's a speakers agreement that's on there that's really great. And I think, Lamar, you've requested probably quite a few templates, and you saved a lot of money of all of the members. I think Lamar has saved like probably $10,000 in legal fees, because that's one of the benefits of the membership, is that you can request templates. And so if there's a template that I feel like, oh, it would be great for the entire group, then I go ahead and put it in the queue. So the next template in the queue is actually a wholesale agreement. And I'm almost done with that. And actually, I'm writing it for the website, but then also for my own business. I have another business for cleaning products. So I was like, well, I need to write it anyway. So there's speakers agreement. I mean, agreements that folks in our space need. Like there's an influencer agreement. There's a model release, combination plus influencer agreement for businesses that are doing multiple things. And there's a videography / photographer, like a combination agreement, because I know a lot of folks that do videography also do photography in our spaces. So there's a lot of hybrid agreements, like I said, that are premium that other sites don't offer, but that I do.
All right, y'all, make sure you jump on it. The link is in the chat, www.newmillennialegal.com. Like I said, we got it pinned in the chat, so you can jump on it. Real quick, a few kind of like quick, fast questions, Raven. The first one was from Bobby. He said, how would you grade sites like LegalZoom?
LegalZoom actually is one of the better template sites. I would say there's PandaDoc. That one's not very good. There's Rocket Lawyer. That one's not very good either. LegalZoom is not fantastic, but I'd say it's probably like maybe like a C-. LegalZoom, I'd give a D. PandaDoc, I'd give a D. The best one out there other than my site, I would say probably LegalZoom. And I think Up Counsel might have some templates there too. And I think theirs might be like a C+. But again, so the reason why these sites are not very good, and let me explain this too, is that there's software that most lawyers and that most of these companies use that have all of these templates kind of inside of the software. And so what most lawyers and what most of these sites do is they just print it off, and then they don't make any changes to them. And it's super, super basic. And then they just upload them to the site because that's the most cost efficient thing to do. And they don't make any changes. So that's why, again, what makes a poor contract is the lack of information in it. It's the lack of verbiage in it. And that's why a lot of these sites they're just not good. It's almost like a print them off and then shove them in there with very little attention to updating them, including an arbitration clause, including optional verbiage for you. They're just not there.
All right. I got two more quick ones about the membership. Angela said, is the membership, excuse me, not Angela, just Candace. Candace said, is the membership only for contracts? You got a lot of stuff in the actual back end of the membership site.
Yeah, no, it's not only for contracts, actually. So man, there's so much in there. So what I do for the members is, number one, obviously the contract templates. Number two, I have a weekly Q&A in my Facebook group where you guys can pop on, ask me questions in real time, and I will answer them. I hold monthly perks for my members. This month, I held free consultations Last month, it was free website audits. The month before that, it was, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's substantive things like that. Because the point of the website is to have a lawyer and have legal support close by where you can touch us or touch me and ask me something, so that way you can grow safely. And then I have free trademark monitoring. I have discounts on my trademarking services. And then, like I said, you can request the contract templates. And so there's always like some perk that's ongoing. I haven't quite figured out what we're going to do for next month, but there's a lot in there.
Yeah, and we actually also use the discount for the trademark services. Y'all, we use our membership. I don't know what everybody else is doing as a member. I don't know if everybody else is exercising all their rights and options as being a card carrying member, but I'm gonna let y'all know I use my stuff. All right, I got one last question about the membership. Jacqueline said, do the templates include support or direction for differing state regulations that might be associated with certain activities?
No, they don't. And here's why, is because I'm licensed in Texas. Now, if you are in a state where I have actually connections and I have other lawyers that I work with, then I can possibly help you, like take you on as a one-on-one client and do it that way. That's what I've done for several of my clients. But through the membership itself, currently, no. However, eventually, I am going to grow it to the point where we will be able to offer that. But right now, no, I can't. But again, because the contract it gets you probably, I would say 80% there. Other contracts probably get you maybe 40. Mine gets you 80% there. So you still, again, you will need a lawyer, but if you do end up having to hire somebody else, it'll be a lot less expensive for you.
All right, y'all. So there you go. Make sure you go to www.newmillennialegal.com. The link to that is down in the comments. We pinned it in the comments. You can get easy access to it. Raven, I want to say thank you again, y'all. You today have learned, right, the 3 biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to collaborate together. We don't want you to make these mistakes. That's why we did today's Lunch and Learn. Raven, any last words before we end this?
No, thanks for having me. If you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to me. I'm always on Messenger. And also you can post a question in my group, Free Legal Resources, as well. So I'm always here. Yep.
So make sure you connect with y'all. I highly recommend Raven. She is the bomb. And I wouldn't be her favorite client without saying stuff like that. So, all right. I appreciate you, Raven. Thanks for joining. Angela, I appreciate you for watching today as well. I'm sure you enjoyed everything I gave on today's Lunch and Learn. Hey, y'all, have a great day. We'll see you next time with our next Lunch and Learn. We got a great one coming next week. Make sure you join us Tuesday at 12 Eastern for next Lunch and Learn. All right. Thank you, Raven. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks. Bye.